Hi and welcome to another video update from the Fire Brigades Union. We're here in the Union's head office in Kingston, London, joined by General Secretary Matt Wrack to discuss what is rapidly becoming a very serious crisis across the country regarding the coronavirus or COVID-19. Now Matt, as I said, this is a rapidly developing situation. However, the Union reacted very quickly with some initial advice for firefighters and emergency control staff. What was it?
The first step we took, Tam, was to advise our members and officials regarding interactions with the public, outside duties, visits, fire safety inspections and so on. And there is a concern around the virus to reduce the number of unnecessary interactions with members of the public. One, to protect the workforce, and secondly, to protect the public, because there may be infection on both sides. And so we felt that they should be significantly reduced. Now, that means there may need to be, risk-critical visits made. If there are fire safety risks that are urgently assessed, then they need to be dealt with. But that there should be a significant scaling back of that. And I think that is now generally happening across the fire services across the UK.
Okay, Matt. Now, as I said, this is a developing situation, but we've looked to Europe and we've seen firefighters in Europe undertaking clearly a lot of additional work in the fire and rescue service. This is in the back of, in the UK, significant challenges we've had in the past as well, of course. And I know you've got a strong point of view in regard to that.
Yeah, I know that firefighters, FBU members will want to do everything we can to protect our communities and go above and beyond in order to do that, to do what we can to help. And absolutely we need to discuss how to do that. But I think we also need to look at the context that this is happening in. We have had a decade, more than a decade, of cuts. So we're now discussing with employers planning for shortfalls in staffing because of our members becoming affected or self-isolating. And the numbers that they're talking about are very significant, 20, 30+% of the workforce being affected. But if you look at the scale of job losses, they have significantly impacted on the resilience within our service. So we've lost something like 20% of the workforce over a decade. And now we're planning to how do we deal with a further 20%? Well, actually, if we hadn't made those cuts in the first place, we would be in a much stronger position as a service to go out and help our communities. And I think that point needs to be made to chief fire officers and to government ministers when we start talking about the work we now need to take on.
Now, Matt, in regard to that, I know you've had meetings with the National Fire Chiefs Council as well as substantial political engagement. But of course, for members at stations now watching this, they might be getting suggestions put forward in regard to additional work. The union's put in place systems to deal with that. I mean, what are these systems?
Well, I think the first thing to say, Tam, is the union is not shutting down. Clearly, we need to significantly reduce meetings, face-to-face meetings and so on. We're putting in place measures so that we can still communicate. And we're very clear that our local reps, our brigade officials, our health and safety officials need to carry on functioning and will carry on functioning. They need to represent our members. Our members will have health and safety issues. They'll have conditions of service issues that they are concerned about. They need to know how to raise those. So still contact your branch rep, still contact your brigade officials and health and safety representatives. Have we got mechanisms by which they can raise things nationally? And clearly we've got dialogue with chief officers, employers and government, which we can then pursue. And I think the message to employers and to chief officers is because of the crisis, you can't bypass the need to discuss. You can't just impose things on our members. There needs to be discussion, consultation and negotiation as appropriate. We'll then discuss anything. We'll have any meetings or discussions with anyone in those categories, government, employers, chiefs and so on. But that discussion needs to take place. And
you've put in place special measures to ensure that happens, yeah?
Yes, obviously we've had to protect people here in head office. Lots of homework. Most of our staff are not now here. Likewise, we put similar measures in place for officials and committees. But we are functioning. We continue to function. I'd ask people to bear with us. It will be a bit slower. It'll be unusual, and we'll have to communicate in slightly different ways, perhaps. But we will continue to function to represent and organise on behalf of our members.
Matt, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks.
Well, that's a very important message there from the Union's General Secretary, and please to all the FBU members out there, please continue to contact your local officials and stay in touch. Well, for more updates on this issue, and we'll be putting substantial updates on our website. You just go to our website, that's www.fbu.org.uk, where there's specific advice in regard to the coronavirus. For more quick updates, you can follow our social media accounts. For Facebook, that's the Fire Brigades Union, and for Twitter, that's at FBU National. Till next time, thanks very much for joining us. Matt, thanks for the work.
Thanks, Tom.